Hello and welcome to today's video. Today I have a fun little video for you. I'm going to be talking about 5 products that I absolutely used to love that are no longer just straight favorites for me. Why don't we go ahead and get into it? Okay, as we get started, I should say that while these are no longer like absolute loves of my life, they're no longer like favorites, but they're by no means bad products, if that makes sense. These are just things that my preferences have kind of changed and adapted to different skin types, different skin needs, things like that. So that being said, I'm going to try very hard to not talk about my new favorites because I'm going to try to put those in a new video. But let's start with the first thing, and that is pore filling primers. I used to like only be able to wear pore filling primers. I do have quite a bit of sun damage and like big pores here, so I still think that there's a place for these kinds of primers in my collection. However, I just don't tend to reach for them day to day. They're more like special occasion kind of products. Like I would definitely, if I was going to go on a date, which I haven't been on a date for a really long time, but if we were going to do that, I would probably reach for a pore filling primer and put those on. But today I just kind of tend to reach for other products. Again, not that those are bad, my preferences have changed, which is kind of shocking to me. I never thought that would ever happen. Now, along those same lines, and I think I was supposed to include this one in the first category, would just be thicker makeup products in general. You know, this is probably one of my more full coverage foundations. And I just don't, again, tend to reach for those thicker feeling foundations and primers as of right now for myself. Product number 2 is contours. I used to love a contour. I think we all did. If you've been here on YouTube for a while, you used to know contour was king for a while. And I am wearing some contour today because I'm trying to work on like a little bit of progress in a product, but I just realized that like if it really came down to it, I totally skip that step most days and I don't really miss it anymore. For whatever reason, I am just like not in love with my contour products anymore. Not that I think this is a solid contour palette. I just don't tend to use contour that often unless I'm either filming or like again going on like a special outing date kind of thing where I want to look a little bit more snatched, which doesn't really happen that often. All right, product number 3, and I'm really shocked to be sharing this one. Super Shock highlighters from ColourPop. I have like 3 or 4 of these in my collection, and I do really think that they're great products. The reason why I used to love these, like for the longest time I had like a bunch of powder highlighters and I would really get into them, really enjoy them, and then once in a while I felt like my skin would look really dry no matter what highlight formula I was using. It was just probably that time of the year my skin was really dry, things like that. And then I found Super Shock highlighters and I found that, you know, I used a beauty blender to apply them and they're more of a cream formula and they just looked so much like less chalky or less powdery on my skin. They really looked beautiful, and I do think that they're absolutely beautiful. But I think that, and you'll see this again in this video, that makeup has changed so much since I first started wearing things like highlighter and eyeshadows and things like that, and the formulas just keep improving. They keep getting better and better, and while this is a great formula, it's still a great product. I'm not absolutely head over heels in love with it. Like I enjoy other products now, and again, I'm not going to say my favorite kind of highlight formula at the moment. I'm going to talk about that in another video. But yeah, this guy, while a favorite for a very long time, still a fantastic product, just not a favorite like it used to be. Now I guess I can use that kind of transition to say one of my next categories. I was going to save this for last, but we'll talk about it as item number 4. Eyeshadows. I feel like those older formulas that we're used to have just kind of got outperformed as time has gone on. These palettes are like, they were favorites for a very long time. The Dose of Colors their little 5-pan matte palettes are incredibly like pigmented, easy to blend. They're great formulas. Same goes for the original Modern Renaissance palette from ABH. Like very pigmented, easy to blend. Lorac palettes for the longest time, which I know that they've maybe changed their formula as of late, but I used to love this palette because these were easy to blend, super pigmented shades, and then the shimmers were particularly, what was my brain trying to say? They're like good shimmers for a mature lid. They're very forgiving, and for a long time I was like, man, I need something super easy, super just beginner friendly, easy. You know, when you put together a look from these palettes, it's typically going to be fine. But nowadays, the more I like get into eyeshadow and the more you explore other brands, you just realize that there are so many other formulas out there that are just as easy to work with, just as beautiful, and then the quality nowadays is just better. It's just better. As much as I love these palettes, and I still really, especially this guy, I really love these palettes, they're just not absolute die-hard favorites for me anymore, which is kind of shocking. It's just crazy how much makeup can change. And last up, item number 5 are thick kind of cream base lipstick. I never really loved a matte lipstick on me unless it was like a colorful matte. I feel like those look pretty on my my face and my skin tone and stuff. They make me a little bit more comfortable. Like typically they dry down a little bit better than cream colors. But this guy, again, this is the shade Caramel from Bite Beauty. This is probably one of the best nude lipsticks for my skin tone. And I may have worn it like once this year. And I was looking at my makeup like the other day, and that's kind of what inspired this video. I was like, wow, some of these products that I was die hard over, I just don't reach for anymore. It's so much easier to reach for a gloss, which again, I didn't even put a gloss on today, but typically, you know, gloss is, and I just broke my rule of also not telling you what my preference is, but it's just so much easier these days to just throw something a little bit easier on, and I don't tend to prefer the thicker feel of this kind of formula anymore. I still keep them around because they still have a place in my collection and they're still great products, but I just don't love them anymore. I'm very curious in the comments to hear what products that used to be like die hard for that you've kind of fallen out of love with. Again, not that they're bad. Let me know in the comments, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.